chaplain for American Legion Post 158, Irvine, Iowa. I'll be delivering the invocation. Pray with me if you like. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for another day in your creation. Bless us, Lord, to the work that is before us. May we work in harmony and love to achieve the work. May all that is done, accomplished this day, be pleasing unto you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. All right, let's go ahead and start our meeting. Roll call, please.
Stancil.
Here.
Fitch.
Here.
Hobbs.
Here. All right, review of agenda. Is there any conflict of interest? Okay, we'll go on with the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved. I have first, I have a second. No second. All right, it's been first and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. 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 All opposed, motion carries. All right, that moves us on to department head reports and discussion. Mike, you are up.
Yep. Good morning, everyone. Got a couple things on the agenda here, a couple resolutions. The first one is the finalization of the BROS 124. That was a project on Contract Bridge Road. It's a bridge replacement. There's federal aid dollars involved with that. It's been let, constructed, and actually been open for about a year. We're finishing up paperwork on that. It was part of a bundling grant through Federal Highway, and I believe it was a 70-30, so 70% was federal government, 30% was ours. So this is the final pay voucher. As part of the regulations and the agreements to do those type of projects, when we get to the end of the project, the final voucher needs to be presented to the board and signed. So that's what's on the agenda today for that item.
So it's all completed?
Yeah, it's done.
And that stacks, and this is your final?
It's done, yes. Yeah. Kind of on a side note, those type of projects from the day you kind of receive funding to the end is about a 5-year deal. That's a simple one. A lot of paperwork, which brings me into the second resolution. This one's not quite as much paperwork, but it is money. It's HSIP, and that's Highway Safety Program. It's a joint program. We're joint applicants. Dallas County is the lead on this, but it's Dallas, Madison, Adair, and Guthrie County. And this is a road in the far northeast corner of Madison County that lies there with all this. And we've got safety money. We've got $635,000 worth of safety money. That comes from the state. And then the total project, $310,000 safety money. Madison County's portion is $635,000. Total project for all these are $3.2 million. And that project's going to consist of widening, new pavement, some shouldering, that type of stuff.
When will it start?
It's in development right now. You're going to sign an agreement for the HSIP money, for the safety money. So hopefully it's let here pretty soon. Like I say, Dallas County is the lead on that. I know they have a set of preliminary plans done, concept, that type of stuff. So it is in the pipeline, and we are signing an agreement. So I would hope to see that it would be let maybe in late fall, the earliest, or maybe a year from now.
Does it all lie in Madison?
No, it's all four counties. Yep.
What is it?
It's the road that goes from the interstate up into Dexter.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, all those counties touch that system up there, and we have jointly applied and got some
So it
money.
entails all four
Yep,
counties?
all four counties.
Do you get equal portions?
No, it's based on miles that we have. Adair and Madison are about the same. Dallas and Guthrie have a little different, a little more actually Dallas has a little more.
Is that the Pitzer that curves around? Or is
No,
that
that's the
further
next,
west?
oh, that's the next one west,
Okay.
like from Interstate 80 north and to Dexter.
I see, okay.
Yep. It's been quite some time since anything's been done. I know in my time there. The other thing I have to report on is, some time ago, we reached out to the Southwest Iowa E911 group, and we received a grant for $100,000 to upgrade our E911 street signs, and those are the signs that are the green background and have white lettering. They were put up approximately 25 years ago. A lot of them are in very poor shape. So we applied for a grant, and we received $100,000. And we spent $100,000, which is the sign material and posts. The bolts, washers, and that type of stuff we'll still have to pay for, and of course the labor to put them up. They've been purchased. They're actually sitting in our maintenance sign shop right now, and you're going to see those being replaced over the next year. It's going to take a while to do them all, but hopefully we'll get those done.
Now, if one gets knocked down, doesn't the landowner have to pay to put it back?
These are not the blue, they're not the address signs, these are the street signs. These are the ones that
green.
the green ones, yeah.
Not the blue.
Yep, yep. And then finally, just kind of on what's one of the bigger things that are going on in the secondary road department right now is we're about 60% on our FY25 rock project resurfacing. Hopefully the weather holds and we can continue that stuff. Quick thing to kind of remember there is we roughly have 740 miles of gravel system. There are 9 zones, breaks out to approximately 80 miles a zone, maybe a little more. And then we're able to currently, with our current fundings, between 18 and 20 miles in each zone get resurfaced. So just kind of throw that little thing out there. We're going to be coming up in the budgeting. That's all I have.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
I
Mike.
want
Thank
to,
you.
I want to thank you. I got a call early Saturday morning. Somebody had whacked off a stop sign, and it's not a safe stop sign to whack off.
Yeah.
And the sheriff's department was right on it, and you guys fixed it right away, and the neighbor said to thank you.
Yeah,
So
great,
thank
great.
you.
We actually,
weren't there.
I'll expand on that just a second, and I know you've got a lot of busy things to talk about today, but stop signs, stop head signs, some of these signs that are very, very important in the rural area. We have a system, we have people on call. If there's something that gets knocked down, call sheriff's office. We have a limited staff that's on call over hours where we're not normally working at, and we can get out there and get a temporary stop sign put up, or get it repaired. Stop signs are one of those things that, very important. I wish people would not knock them down. Sometimes it's an accident, but sometimes it's not. Somebody someday is not going to stop, and there's going to be an accident. And so it's very important that those get stuck back up. So anyway, if you do see a sign, especially stop signs that are down, you can always call our office, leave a message, and we'll respond, or especially if it's after hours. Weekends, after 4:30 in the afternoon, don't mean to cause more work for the dispatcher out there.
We're good.
But they'll relay it on the people that are on call, and we can get something temporary up so we don't have an accident. Anyway, we'll go on.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Yep.
Mike. Thanks, Jason. You guys were great.
All right, Brady. Brady must be here. Nope, it's not here. Okay. All right, that's it for the department head reports. We'll move on to public comment. If you would like to make a public comment, go ahead and speak up here. State your name and address. Speak up because the microphone doesn't always pick it up. And you have 3 minutes to speak. So whoever wants to jump in first.
Oh, I think it is on.
I think it is on.
Check that, see if it's on right.
There we go.
My name is Mike Fletcher. I live at 803 East South Street here in Winterset, and I'm also a member of the Winterset City Council. Heather, you had taken a couple of shots at the city recently, and in both cases you missed the real information or facts. First, you did a Facebook post concerning the recent work session in which you and your auditor tried to add an employee without following proper county procedures, and the matter was tabled. At the end of that post, which the city had nothing to do with, you stated that both the school and city had much to learn from the county when it comes to fiscal responsibility. Here are the facts. Tax changes for each of the mentioned entities for the budget years 2023 to 2024 are as follows. School increased our taxes by 6.46%, the county by 4.11%, and the city by 1.66%. So based on the facts, I would say the school and county have much to learn from the city when it comes to fiscal responsibility. This 1.66 increase the city experienced was preceded by 2 years in which the city's tax levy actually had decreased those 2 previous years. Second, you took a shot at the city at the last meeting for spending $85,000 on our comprehensive plan versus the county spending $40,000. Like most things, you get what you pay for. Heather, your plan is more of a history of Madison County, similar to the one published in this book with updated facts, charts, and graphs. You also have a report that is full of photos, while relaxing to look at, they play no part in supporting your plan. I would not call your plan a comprehensive plan since it contains no goals, projects, or timelines, or any information on how the county plans on taking care of its existing infrastructure. One example is the bridges. Other than a map showing all the locations of the bridges, all of the 267 bridges in the county got was an honorable mention. I am sure our county engineer has the needs of each of the bridges well documented and has priority lists indicating which bridges need work sooner rather than later. A comprehensive plan as pertains to the bridges should contain a specific timeline for specific bridges, outlining the work that needs to be done, a goal that can be measured and monitored. There's nothing in the report that sets goals or gives any timelines. The city's comprehensive plan was entirely put together 100% with public input through surveys, questionnaires, and many public meetings.
Mike, I have to interrupt. Your 3 minutes are up.
What's that?
Your 3 minutes are up.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Anyone else?
Vicki Brenner, 1632 Mueller Court, Winterset. My comments are regarding the tabled AO Resolution 1010825 that newly elected Auditor Kaczinski requested to hire her campaign chair, Leslie Beck, at $29 an hour. And the current agenda item, AO Resolution 012825A, Auditor Kaczinski's request to change or create positions in the auditor's office to hire 2 part-time staff positions and 1 part-time temporary position. Auditor Kaczinski's campaign message to, quote, relentlessly advocate for transparency, accountability, and fiscal responsibility, end quote, conflicts with her annual salary of $80,424 and having been on the job for a few weeks, already needs additional staff at additional cost. While the second deputy position was included in the previous auditor's budget, it was never filled in order to save us money. The previous auditor was able to do the job with the current staff that Auditor Kaczinski currently has. Roughly 60% of our part-time county employees make less than $29 per hour, thus putting Madison County at risk for a potential wage discrimination lawsuit. How many people who live here in Madison County would like a part-time job that pays $29 an hour, which Auditor Kaczinski wants to give to her campaign chair? On January 9th, Supervisor Hobbs posted in connection to the auditor's request to hire Leslie Beck that 2 employees currently in the auditor's office have advised the auditor they have no experience with the budget, end quote.
Last night at the budget work session, several departments made reference to help they received from the current first deputy in the auditor's office regarding budget questions. When the resolution to make staff changes is discussed later in this meeting, I would expect Auditor Kaczinski share with the board and the public which duties she and her current staff are responsible for and what needs are not being met. At last night's budget work session, there was discussion regarding 27 Madison County residents who will lose their home health care services in June. We're now paying Warren County to access those services at that time, we will be paying Warren County to access those services at a higher per hour cost and fewer services because they are spread so thin. Supervisor Stancil said that in order for us to maintain that program, we would have to raise wages to attract more home health care workers, and we can't afford to do that. How do you explain to those residents and their families that we can expand the auditor's staff without a thorough assessment of the current staff and office needs, but we can't afford to meet their home health care needs? And lastly, why don't we and the departments have updated budget information from our treasurer and our auditor? I'd like to submit my comments for the record.
You want them received and filed?
Yes, please. I move we receive and file the comments.
I'll second them.
I'm sorry, I asked for a motion to receive and file.
I will make a motion we receive and file as requested.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. Anyone else?
I'm Anita Smuck, 2487 Mill Ridge Trail in Rachael. I'm guessing that
Name one more time with your name.
Anita Smuck, S-M-U-C-K. Thank you. I'm guessing that all of this is going to be discussed today, resolved, clarified. But I just want to say, I feel for all the newly elected officials, I have worked in many positions and many different corporations, and I know that every time I started a new job, I was hoping that everyone there was pulling for me. And I would say 99% of the time, they were. In a newly elected official type position, that would be even more so. And as a newly appointed person, I would definitely think that one would need to hit the ground running, and that you would need to have people to gather data for you because, obvious reasons. So, I guess what I'm saying is, I was one of the people who voted for the change. I'm optimistic about the change. I see it as all positive, and I'm sorry that not everyone does, but I'm just anxious to see my property taxes go down because it's getting to a point where a lot of us just can't even hardly afford to live in Madison County, which is sad because I've always considered it one of the most beautiful places on earth. So, just wanted to ask that everyone please offer grace and consideration and cooperation, because everyone here is all pulling for the same thing. We all want to benefit every citizen in our county. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yep. Sarah Pugh, 1930 Nature Trail, Winterset, Iowa. As a former auditor's office staff, I'm concerned that the current auditor is not understanding the job role she's going to be hiring for. Yes, I understand grace in learning the job. We need you to do your job very well, especially in the auditor's office, because the entire county relies on it. Understanding the job that you are hiring for is the big deal here. If you can't train the person that you are hiring, how do you know that they are fulfilling their role? How do you know that it's necessary? How do you know when they're not meeting expectations? So I would encourage you to please understand the job descriptions before you approve the total restructuring of an office. Because if you don't understand the job duties that should be fulfilled, how do you know you've hired the right person? How do you know that it's necessary? How do you know that the tax dollars are going to where they need to go and not to another office that is highly understaffed? Please take a really strong, hard look at the big picture before just jumping in. We are 28 days into January. This is very fast to be restructuring an entire office. And having worked in it, I don't think it's necessary.
All right, any other comments?
Rachael Terhaar, 2046 Adair Madison Avenue, Winterset. I guess I've been listening the last couple of meetings here and trying to get my bearings on what is the big issue. I didn't know that it was a total restructuring of an auditor's office, but I hope it's not a mountain being made out of a molehill. It sounds to me like a new person in a new role trying to do a whole brand new job has a whole lot to learn. And that as we put our confidence behind this auditor in this last election, we just need to give her some space and time to be able to do that to the best of her ability. That things can be done efficiently, things can be done correctly. Hiring some part-time workers to me seems a lot more flexible. You can turn the spigot on, you can turn the spigot off. If you need to fill the position, then it's without having all the extra cost to the taxpayers of like all the benefits that go with it. So that's done all the time in the business world. Temporary help, and I'd like to see her get the help. That's how I'd feel if I was in that position. I'm sure it's like trying to drink from a fire hydrant for a while. So if there needs to be tidying up, if there needs to be extra support for her, then I say that that's what we need to do. Thank you.
So do Rachel. Anyone else? Anyone on the phone that wishes to speak? Going once? Twice? All right, we'll move on to presentations. Colleen?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. All right, you are up, Colleen.
I really only am here to, get approval for the historic preservation annual report, that we have to send into SHPO. Interestingly enough, so you have you have a copy of the entire report in your packet, along with the report or a document that Heather will need to sign once you approve the annual report. Basically, it's a long list of our accomplishments from last year. So I thought I'd go over a few of those highlights and note that we are limited when we do these reports. We're limited in space, so I'm not going to hit everything, and we can't even include in the report everything that this group has done, but they're pretty active. So probably one of the bigger items was the Earlham Historic Commercial Estate, which seems eligible for nomination to the National Register of Historic Places. That currently includes 29 or 30 buildings, which will depend on the final outcome. Earlham Bank, because it aged in, can now be included in the district. So we got that approved. We went on, we did a grant request for the nomination process. That has been approved. We should be seeing the contracts come across for signature, and that'll just be a pass-through grant from the state. I'm not sure that SHPO was absorbed into IDA, last year, and there's still sort of some moving parts, so I'm not sure when you'll see that. We also sort of helped along the way the Winterset Municipal Power Plant through the process of getting nominated to the National Register. They are at this point waiting to go before the State Review Board, and once that's approved, it'll go on to the National Park. For that building to go on, we requested 3 different field services requests. We put them in last year. Field services paid, the state paid for an archaeological architect to come out to a specific business and provide sort of an engineering report or design report on ways to help preserve that building that doesn't violate its historic value, basically. And we did that for Earl's Westside Bar, for the municipal power plant, and for the Madison, the current Madisonian building. We applied for a grant from RAGRI to receive those funds, and that money, along with some of our own money, is going to go toward repair and the engraving of the statue at Monumental Park. Repair work on that. We have also applied for a grant for Network to Freedom, and that was approved, That was approved, and that helps to pay for a Network to Freedom sign to go on the old log jail, and it helped educate the entire 7th grade in Winterset on, they did some Network to Freedom and Underground Railroad work with them. We also worked with the Cemetery Preservation Fund this year and promoting that to some of the trustees. So those funds were dispersed last year for the repair of 51 headstones and some fencing work. So as a result of that, we were able to get one of our pioneer cemeteries pretty well restored, and it had been abandoned, completely abandoned, overgrown, weeds to your waist, all of that.
Which cemetery was that, Colleen?
Cleared.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Finey?
Colleen, how, do you still have to go through, the field to get to Viney? You have to, it's a pretty far walk. Do you still have?
It is, the homeowner, we've worked with her enough now, she's engaged in allowing access into that, back into that, and she's got a 4-wheeler, she's willing to take people out there. And she's actually mowing the cemetery now. So that's a huge step in the right direction, because it's now restored, I was able to get 2 more headstones to go in there, one for a Civil War veteran and one for a War of 1812 veteran. And the stone repair for a lot of the ones that are there that'll be something they're going to continue to work on. And I was able to, we're starting some conversations because of all of this with Restore a Farce Cemetery, which now sits sort of in the middle of a DNR, in the middle of DNR grid. So I've had some conversations with the DNR about access and maintenance and all of those kind of things, and what they will and will not allow us to do. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other things that we have done, and I'm sure, I know Teddy Yeager has worked really hard on raising awareness for the covered bridges, for repair funds, And there've been a couple new, interviews, there's been, a big article in the Des Moines Register. She got 6 interpretive panels put in at the bridges. And I know there's things that I'm not including in this report, but that's just kind of a lot of a highlight. And again, not even in the report that you see are all the things that we've done because, well, just space will allow it. So essentially what I need is for you to look through the report and Heather, if you can sign that and have Michelle send that back to me, then I can submit it to the state because they, for whatever reason, I'm guessing shenanigans, this year are requiring a copy of your agenda and or the minutes to ensure that I'm actually in attendance presenting this Tuesday.
Well, we normally, do the minutes have to be approved, Colleen?
Yeah, I would say.
They do not have to be approved, they just have to show, that I, and the agenda will work too, they just show that I was here and that you have your agenda already has it. So I will be fine with that. I'm not sure why this new rule came about. Like I said, I'm guessing they experienced some shenanigans.
The reason why I
We haven't
ask,
had to do this in the past.
the reason why I ask is we don't approve, like the minutes from today won't be approved until our next meeting. So then you're looking probably at,
Which is fine.
so if you need approved minutes, then you'll have to wait 2 weeks.
You could send her an unattached,
Yeah.
unapproved, and then
Right.
later send an approved minutes, so
Right,
she
so
could.
that's
have
why
them
I was
both in.
wondering what you
Yes.
needed.
And I'm sure it'll be fine. I actually have until the end of February to get it in. So either way, it will be fine, as long as I can get the signed form. I can wait for the minutes, as long as
Okay.
you can go ahead and sign the form for me, then I should be good to meet their deadline.
Okay, all right, well then, we'll get you the approved minutes unless you tell us you want something different later, okay?
All right, do you have any questions for me?
Thank you very much for this thorough report. Maybe you should include a spreadsheet next time with your report of everything you've done. So their space doesn't allow it, but I'm sure the public would love to know what you've been doing.
Well, a lot, but, it's all right.
Okay,
Thanks for all you do, Colleen.
thank you.
You're welcome. Uh-huh.
All right. Now we're at the resolutions for board consideration. I know the public had mentioned some concerns about budgets. We are gonna be talking about the budgets later on in the meeting. If the board wishes, we can do that now before we approve the first resolution, because that seems to be the one that the public's have some comments on. If you'd rather not, we can go ahead and, either way, I don't care. whichever
Let's
you
stay
guys
on
want.
the agenda.
Just, that's fine, okay. All right, resolutions for board consideration. The first one is approving changes to the staffing structure of the auditor's office as of 28 January 2025. Just for the clarification for the public, the Board of Supervisors is legally required to approve position titles. In fact, we have several position titles that are quote-unquote vacant right now in the county because the current director or elected official chose not to give that title to some other staff. However, if our auditor wants to change, say, a full-time position to a part-time position, she can't just do that without board approval. So we are approving staffing changes for titles. She eventually will post and hire at a wage that'll be coming down the line. But the supervisors have to approve this before she even has flexibility in changing her staff from full-time to part-time. So this is what this is for. That's why there's no wage on there. No one's been hired yet because nothing's been posted yet. So we are doing this so she can have the flexibility. Doesn't mean she's gonna hire all three. That's entirely up to our auditor. We'll leave it up to her. She has, however, to stay within the budget that was passed. She cannot go over the budget, and this is for the existing budget through June 30th. So we are still working on fiscal year 26, and we'll have more conversations about staffing at that time. So I will seek a motion to approve resolution A0012825A. A motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? I will second that motion. All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, vote nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. All right, next resolution,
We
approving
need
writing.
to offer discussion after each one, but
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Diane, you're right. So if we want to discuss, we can discuss now.
I think that we are here to provide services for they're not just taxpayers, they're customers. They come in here to get passports. People used to drive from Dallas to get driver's license because we were so pleasant and a fun place to be. Our staff is internal customers. They matter. And they provide a service to make everyone else's job, life easier. When we put on an agenda to hire someone at $29 an hour part-time,
That's not on the agenda, Diane.
I can have discussion. I got more calls yesterday. It took me an hour to buy 2 things in the grocery store. How do you think a person feels when they've worked here 13 years and they're an amazing employees and they don't make that? It doesn't matter if it might in the long run, your property taxes might be $200 a year cheaper, but you've lost all your services. We are here to provide a service. They're customers.
And
the
do
people
realize that
work for us.
position paid, the previous person that held that position got paid $29 an hour. You do realize that, right?
That's fine. I'm done and I'm being voted
I'm
nay.
tired of the miscommunication and the misinformation. I'm done with that.
What's the misinformation?
Everyone's making it sound like she's doing something out of the ordinary. That position right now is funded for $29 an hour by the previous auditor. That's what it's funded for. So she was using I'm assuming, what was there, thinking that was right. It was like day 3. So Diane, we need to stop this now. She's the auditor, she's the one that the people picked. They gave her direction of what they wanted, and they wanted to lower taxes. So I'm gonna trust her to the comment of Anita, I think it was, to trust her to do that. She's been here 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, exactly, 3 weeks, and she's already being attacked for trying to do what the public asked her to do. So we will see going forward. We still have to work on our budget, and we'll talk about that later in the meeting. But we will be making decisions on the budget. I'm not looking forward to those going forward. And to Sarah's point, we are in short timetable. I agree, we are. So I'm going to trust the people and the people's choice for our auditor. And I apologize for not allowing discussion. That was nice.
So are we going to outline some of the challenges and history that Terry's been presented with in her
That was
role?
gonna be in my budget update.
Okay.
We can do it now, or we can wait, it's up to you.
That's fine, we can wait, as long as we make sure that we cover that important information.
Yep, I'm gonna outline it. Okay, so the next several resolutions are for EMS, for writing off various accounts. Would the board be approving all of those as one item, since they're all the same thing?
Yeah, I would move to approve them all, because this means, just so the public knows, when we write off an ambulance, they've exhausted every way
To get
get payment, and they just can't, so this is how it has to be.
Couple
It has to
points
be paid.
of clarification. So is this something we typically just do annually? Or
No,
what's the
as
frequency?
needed.
When they
As
come,
needed?
yeah.
Is this a normal amount
No,
of deceased people, or is this?
This is quite a bit, so we would have to ask Brady if he just kinda held them for a
Okay.
while, and then just dropped a bunch of them at once. In the past, we've had 1 or 2,
Yeah, it was alarming to see that.
Oh,
that
it's been,
number.
in the past, probably 5 years ago, we've had this many. We have, yeah, sure, we have.
So I'll clarify with Brady when I meet with him too, just so I can make sure I understand the process. But yeah, it
Sometimes he
makes sense to-
packages them.
Makes sense to lump them together and, yeah, okay.
All right, then I will be entertaining a motion to approve EMS resolutions A through J.
So moved to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next resolution, approving final payment voucher for project BRCH8CHBP-CO61, parentheses 124-NC61.
So moved to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All right, all in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next resolution is approving Iowa DOT local federal aid swap project for HSIP swap-CO25-135-FJ25. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we're down for applications, licenses, permits, and cancellations. The first one is to approve an application for temporary liqueur wine license for Winterset Knights of Columbus located at 1370 Highway 169 in Winterset for the date of February 16th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next is a motion to approve the application for the annual liqueur and wine license renewal for Oviet, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Enterprises, doing business as Big Rack Brew House, located at 2475 Hyatt Apple Trail, Winterset, effective March 4th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, board reports. Diane, you want to go first?
I attended 2 HIRTA meetings and was voted vice chair, so I had to thank them for that. I'm brand new. CICS, I did not get the information until after the meeting, but I did talk to them this morning, so that's so up in the air. I attended a landfill meeting. We have partnered with the court systems, and we will take people who need community service, and they can come out there and pick up garbage. And the board is in approval of doing that. We are also going to implement, which will not be popular to the public, but we are going to implement tarping. If you don't come in with your garbage tarp, we're going to fine you. Because I don't like picking up garbage, and that's who picks it up, is the staff and I. So we are going to be implementing a tarping, so you have to have your garbage tarped. We are also going to have a wind advisory, so if it's a state 55-mile-an-hour winds or higher, we are going to have the option of closing the landfill, because we can't bury garbage fast enough when we have a 55-mile-an-hour wind, and then we end up picking that up. If you've noticed, we've put up really high fences, so that should stop some of it. But that's what I'm working on. I've also been working with the school. The most thing in a landfill is food. In the United States of America, that's what's in a landfill. That creates methane gas. If you're out east and we have 1 million ton a day, you can turn that into power. Ours is just food. So I've been working with the school, wondering if we could dump food into barrels. They can buy a cooker for not a lot of money that will turn that into mulch. And Interstate's very interested. We've also discussed maybe we could do something with the landfill to prevent some of this incredible food waste. We could turn it into something else. So we've been kind of kicking that around, and I think I will see if I can work with C-COG to maybe write a grant to, because we have to stop some of this. It just creates so much methane. We have to have relief wells, and we have to have all, Drew's shaking his head, all of our lagoons. So maybe we could prevent some of it, so that's what I'm working on.
Okay, Jess, you want to?
I've got another ISAC training, statewide supervisor training this Thursday in Des Moines, I'm looking forward to. Continuing to try to make sure I'm queued up for the boards I've been assigned to. We did have the emergency management meeting last week, led by Sheriff Barnes and Mitch, and he did a great job. And seems like Mitch has really taken off running in his new role. And I do have a note that I'm going to be referencing my county office number as my primary mode of contact, so we're gonna make sure that we get that all updated on the websites and such. So that number is 705-0378 if anyone wants to reach out to me directly. Just looking forward to hopefully getting through this critical budget process that we're behind the eight ball on.
Okay, so we had our Cover Bridge Preservation Committee meeting. That was a good meeting. CICS Committee meeting, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of answers yet regarding what's going on with them, so,
They did get on track for,
they were working on the disability one.
and they got the one, she said, they didn't implement the mental health, so we
Well,
don't know.
No, so we don't know what's gonna happen with that whole office. I need to revisit with, Betsy to see what their thoughts are.
Are you on CICS? I thought that was mine.
No.
Oh, good.
We had a budget work session that we all attended. I met with the Department of Management regarding our budget timeline challenges. I also had several calls and meetings with Harris, who is now the parent company of Solutions, as we're working through some of the challenges, which I will get to later in the meeting. I also spent time with our new auditor, sitting alongside and learning all our training. Because I want to understand the budgets better as well, since ultimately the supervisors are responsible for it. It's good for us to know how it works. So I spent a lot of time with that. Unfortunately, I was also at the hospital a lot the last couple of weeks, so that's been taking my time, unfortunately. Anyway, so those are my reports. Do you guys have any questions for each other? No? Okay. All right, old business, changing regular session meeting time. I know you brought this up, Jess, and we want to talk about it a little bit more. Did you want to take a way on that?
I'm willing to be flexible, that's why I'm asking just for one meeting to be moved, but it's much more convenient for the public, who we serve, to be here in the evenings. I don't want to create any hardships for the department heads, certainly, but they're in charge of their schedules, I don't know that that's that big of a deal.
Well, a lot of them were here last night at our work session.
We had a great turnout last night, and the meeting started at 5. So it'd be, in my opinion, if we start something like at 5 o'clock, and if maybe it's just one of the two meetings, move it to 5, then we don't have to worry about people going home, getting settled, and not coming back, right? We can just get it done and move on. I'm flexible with that, but that is something that I know the community has been asking me for.
I'm open to that too. Were you thinking maybe the first? Do we want to keep it on Tuesday, or do we want to do a different day?
To me, it'd be maybe easiest if we just took either the first or the second meeting and just moved it to, say, 5, if Diane would be in agreement with that.
Do we want to do the first one or the second one? Which do you think would be better? I mean, usually our first meetings are pretty active, but they're kind of all over the place, Diane.
What goes most, like, Terry, do bills all have to be out by the first? First, it seems to be everything has to be done. So if we have the first meeting, normal 9:30, and the second later in the night, would that work better for the department heads?
Well, I don't know if it really matters, Diane.
She just shook her head, yes, there's more to be done. A lot of things are due in the beginning.
I guess I'm trying to understand what's the difference if we do the meeting on Tuesday morning versus if at Tuesday night, I mean, anything, any claims or stuff could just be processed the next day,
I
right?
didn't care about the time, I said it was, the first meeting of the month might be easier to read. I don't
Oh,
care.
I see, oh, I
That's
see what
what
you're
I
saying,
meant.
I see
I
what you're
didn't
saying,
mean-
okay,
I
I
don't-
misunderstood, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, so you're thinking maybe the second one, the evening one?
It doesn't make any difference to me.
So
It's,
that would be, so if we start in February, so that would be, February 25th.
so to make this simple, only the second meeting of every month will be at 5 o'clock, right? Is that what we're
So the
doing?
fourth Tuesday of every month will be at 5 o'clock. Is that,
The fourth Tuesday of every month will be at 5.
because right now it's the second and fourth Tuesday we're in the morning, so we'll keep the second and fourth Tuesday in place, we're just shifting the fourth Tuesday 1 to 5.
So the fourth Tuesday of every month is our 5 o'clock regular meeting, right?
Do we have any department heads here that want to weigh in on this? Give any thoughts?
It makes no difference one way or the other.
How are you gonna flex your time? I know you
I
work
don't
60
get
hours
to.
a week already.
That wasn't where I was going with this. It was the other half a day of business, whether or not. So a lot of times, and again, I don't want to speak outside of the secondary road process, but I do know there are claims at the secondary roads, and payrolls with the secondary roads that are approved on Tuesday, like today, let's say for example, that there are other offices that need processing time to get that out in a paycheck or get the bills paid by, let's say, late that day or Wednesday. I can't speak for them. That is the process, and whether or not that would knock a day of processing off because it's late. I don't know, and I don't know if they can process some of that up to a point and then wait for the approval later that night. I'm just throwing that out there.
So if
I
we
mean,
approve
you
it,
could do work, there's a lot of times I have to do work knowing that there's a deadline and it's not approved until it's approved. So, you know, I mean, there's ways to look at that, but there are some time-sensitive things that at times maybe that half a day is important. Maybe that's just,
I actually concur with that.
and maybe that's a communication thing that, you know, as you go forward with this, that you work those things out. You're gonna run into some critical times. We do every year, and I can speak for the road department especially, that where the bills fall out at a certain time, or one of it is if you look at the calendar, there's a couple instances where the board doesn't meet for 3 weeks. That's just kind of the way it works. And that's a crunch to get vendors paid sometimes.
Okay.
so
But
Terry,
again, this is just an open for conversation. You know, you could look at several scenarios. I don't think it's a bad idea to have meetings at
Could we
in the
address it
evening.
by moving it to the Monday night before when we normally, I mean, then we're gaining a half a day.
That's true,
Yeah,
that might be
I-
better.
I don't know.
That would
Again,
be
that's,
better with processing that goes on
because
as far as
she
my
has,
workload.
if she has the claims at 5, but they're not approved, then that puts you behind, yeah, you can't pay them. All right,
So,
There's one thing about like moving it, if you're gonna move it off of a Tuesday, you need to be conscious of it.
yes.
Other department heads, like our regular scheduled monthly meetings, the second Monday of every month.
Right.
So if you're gonna be moving it from the Tuesday during the weekday or during the evening, I would ask that you would be conscious of other departments and their board meetings that they've already got scheduled, that's been that way.
And Tuesdays have worked well.
Tuesdays,
I know sometimes, like I say, some of the processing that goes in the background can be extensive. I know sometimes we have a lot of bills from a lot of different vendors.
so the other option is to, if that occurs, we could have a special meeting just to approve those.
I think I don't like special meetings. I think it seems unorganized and
Do you want to add
there needs to be a
a
consistency.
third meeting?
Well, a third
You know, you
meeting.
have your 2 or whatever, I don't know. Again, it's your meeting, you ask for
No,
input,
we need his input
Yeah.
so we can make
you know,
educated
you
decisions.
guys,
There are a lot of supervisors across the state that meet weekly.
yeah, we used to here.
We used to, we had a small agenda, and yeah, we used to.
So what about meeting weekly and have the off ones be?
2 mornings, 2 nights?
Correct.
Or
That makes for,
start,
that makes for shorter meetings overall.
Well, and at least through this budget process, when we're needing these extra work sessions.
Work sessions are not the meetings, they're
Well,
work sessions.
true.
could you add just one evening meeting and see what you get for people? And then that would help weigh on what's going to happen.
So go to weekly meetings in 1 month, 1 day, 1 time a month, one.
Yes, something else to consider, there's quite a few of us that have high school kids and younger that are in activities. So if one of us gets put on the agenda for something, I'm not willing to miss my children's events or my time with my children if it's a minor thing, if it's something that we can get done during the day. Family is more important to me, so.
I'm sure we can coordinate that.
Yeah, it's just something to think about when you schedule the, whatever you're putting on the agenda for the night meetings. Take into consideration what that department head may have going on that evening. And maybe have to schedule for a different day.
There's a lot of evening meetings that go on.
I know.
I mean,
And a lot of
in
stuff.
addition to your county government, I mean, a lot of other nonprofit affiliations, we have meetings in the evenings and so.
People have church on Wednesday, you have a lot of
Well, like
stuff.
tonight, I mean, I have HIRTA meeting tonight. So, and today's the 4th Tuesday, so maybe it might be better to do it, another night.
So go this,
All
How
the
about the
councils,
first?
all the city councils in Madison County meet on Monday or Tuesday night, and it's varying times, so,
They meet on Tuesdays too?
yeah, it's kind of all over the board, but it's concentrated those 2 nights, I looked all of those up. But my question would be, as far as the time, if you did move it, obviously we have to work around other boards, other commissions, councils. But the timing, is 5 o'clock a reasonable time to allow the community to get here and to not impede the department heads too much? Or would department heads, would you rather come back or have it later in the evening?
Well, the 5 o'clock one regarding members of the public, a lot of people get off at 5. So if they work in West Des Moines or whatever, it's
Still
gonna
gonna
take
be
a-
tough for them to get here.
Yeah. So,
What do you look at, what is the budget, what time it is for the meetings?
usually
Is
Tuesdays.
it 7 o'clock?
6 or 7,
Yeah,
depending
6
on
or
the county.
7.
There aren't a lot of night meetings, and Page County did away with it.
Yeah. So,
I would be open to tabling this and asking more information, having directed conversations with people, and actually, and I'd be happy to do it, start putting together a list. If any of you have certain critical meetings that you wanna make sure we're not overlapping with, I can put all of it together in a spreadsheet.
Somebody's trying to
Somebody.
speak.
I think we should send out, this is Amanda, I think we should send out a county-wide, like, email to do like a vote, to see if, like, what time would work for everybody, if we would change it, and if we would wanna come at night. Because I know, like, Ryan will start soccer here in the spring, and so he would not be able to come to a night meeting. I mean, we'll start softball here in the spring too, so I won't be able to,
Yeah, my kids are in a lot of sports and,
I
yeah,
love that idea, man. Have Michelle send out a survey. Would you do that, Michelle?
Yeah, so I mean,
County, all county employees. Yeah, that's a great idea.
so, I guess.
I wanna hear from the
Even- I mean,
citizens and the
even-
taxpayers though, in
You
addition.
can put it on the, you can put it on the
Would you
website.
like to do the citizens and all do that? I mean,
yeah, because you want to ask even, not just the department heads, even the employees, because they listen in just as much
So, we can
as
always,
we.
what we could do is online.
Could you still add a meeting, a night meeting, and so it's, you know, let's say you have 3 meetings, I'm sorry, I'm speaking out of turn, I apologize. Right now you meet twice. Let's say you add a meeting, one of those is a night meeting, whatever night it is. To be able to have discussion with the public, possible items with the department heads, depending on the workflow or what's going on. That still offers 2 other meetings for general business. And, you know, even if it's a discussion, it would at least allow for people who couldn't get here to have a discussion on a topic. Whether it is approved in that meeting or not, I don't think it really matters. I mean, you can push something to another meeting because now you've heard from more people. I mean, I'll pick on the road department. Let's say it's one of these agreements today. If there was another meeting, it would help with the timing sometimes with getting these things going. And if something had to be tabled because there was an item with it, it at least gives us another chance to come back and discuss it again by adding another meeting. Now, again, that's just, I'm throwing it out there, that's a flyby, there's a lot of moving pieces, you guys are all on other boards, also have other commitments, but I just thought I'd throw that out there.
What if we send out the survey to the county? How do we get it to the public? Do we put it on a website?
We put it on our website.
And then they can just vote?
We can have department heads put it on their social media if they have them. And then that way we can get some feedback on that, because that was multiple comments made. Almost every single public hearing we've had for the budget is that we need to have meetings in the evening so they can attend. Now I understand that, department heads, we have challenges with that because to Randy's point, family. But on the flip side, the public have the same challenges as well. So we want to make sure we balance that. And if we do decide to go to an evening meeting, we just will have to coordinate a little bit better with department heads that are on the agenda to make sure that they can attend. And if they cannot attend, then we make adjustments accordingly if they're on the agenda to speak. So, or speak to an item on the agenda, because we want to make sure that the experts are on board, on deck for that. So, I know that there's polls out there, free polls we can put, and have people can do a survey and fill it out. So, just to want to do that.
I can work with Michelle on that, yeah.
Okay. And then we'll get it out there. So, good discussion. Thank everybody for your feedback. Appreciate it. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the budget update. As I mentioned earlier, I've been sitting with Terry. I've had conversations with our Department of Management as well as Solutions. We're trying to figure out what's going on. And there's 5 things I wanted to share regarding the budget that the public and the Board of Supervisors need to be aware of. You guys are aware of some things already. Some of these directly impact our ability to complete the budget. Others are things that may impact the budget itself. So, and this information is coming from Solutions. We were advised that the former auditor had not conducted monthly audits since the end of June. So we had not had an audit on our books since July. Leaving discrepancies between the auditor's and treasurer's offices both unresolved and therefore compounded each month. This led to unbalanced accounts, preventing any accurate revenue and expenditure reporting for the past 6 months. The new auditor, working with the Treasurer and Solutions, was able to complete corrections through December on the Treasurer's side and is still working through August on the auditor's side. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay, Terry? However, in order for us to provide the information our department heads need, we need audits done through December in order to give accurate budget planning to the Board of Supervisors. Because of this lack of audits, we missed budget benchmarks, to Sarah's point. The former auditor did not provide current revenue or expenditure data to the department heads in December for their budget planning. This caused missing later key January budget planning benchmarks set by the Department of Management for the Board of Supervisors. I did not know that there was benchmarks in the Department of Management. I learned that when I attended Terry's training. The first state reporting deadline is March 5th, and the public hearing mailing is due March 15th. Those are, if you recall, the mailings y'all got, itemizing all the taxes and stuff like that. That's the first public hearing. It's not the final budget, it's just the first one. Therefore, I am concerned that the new auditor may not have enough time to complete the remaining 4 months of the last year's missing audits before he must be ready to submit our budget. Failure to meet state reporting guidelines will restrict property tax revenues to be the same as last year. We do not have a choice then. I mean, the taxpayers will be happy, taxes won't go up. However, we'll be making some hard decisions if that's the case, because as you, several department heads know, costs have gone up and we must pay them. So we have to find the money somewhere. Okay, regarding the, what we call in the private sector ghost employees, the new auditor identified nearly $100,000 in the current fiscal year's budget for an unfilled position that was still being funded by taxpayers for over a year and a half. So the taxpayers were funding for a position that, you know, we supposedly didn't need. That's gonna leave that up to Terry to figure that out. She's planning on reviewing staffing needs, which I'm hopeful, and one of the reasons why we approved that resolution for her today. Terry also discovered that the FEMA report for a $59,000 FEMA grant received in August was never submitted by the previous auditor to FEMA. It is due January 30th, but the former auditor's credentials still show as the only one authorized on the federal reporting site, and FEMA advised us that updating it to our new auditor's info may take up to a month. If that report filing is missed, it could lead repayment of the grant along with penalties and interest, and thus we would have to add that amount to our budget this year, an increase. Because of this, I've reached out to Congressman Nunn's office. I talked to his chief of staff, and they are going to help us see if we can expedite the credential change with FEMA. So I'm hoping we don't have to pay that back. We've already done that once before when the government clawed back COVID funds for missed revenue, missed reports. And then this is just something I want to speak to because I'm still trying to understand it all. I've seen stuff on social media regarding the TIF revenue reallocation. Can we speak to that, Steve?
Depends on what you're gonna say. I mean, there's.
Okay, I'll just say what I was told.
Okay.
Okay, so a miscoding error led to TIF funds being sent to incorrect taxing authorities. The error was identified in November, and the board found out about it on 12/17. Corrections were made in early January, with reallocation expected in February. I do not understand the full impact of the county budget until this fix is done. I really don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing for the county. I'm assuming it's a good thing. However, hopefully the resumption of monthly audits under the current new auditor will allow any future errors to be fixed more quickly. So that is my update as to where we're at. I share people's concerns, as does probably most of the folks here in this room, that we are speeding towards a budget that we haven't even barely started yet. So, Terry, have you had any updates from Solutions past? We got through August and
Well,
we're
then we
still
got
working
through
on
August.
September. Okay.
And so we're at September and we're sitting there.
Okay, but the
kinda-
treasurer's side is done, you're still working on the corrections?
From my understanding,
Okay,
yes.
okay. All right, see if you can light a fire under them, if you could, please. So anyway, that's the budget update. The Board of Supervisors decided yesterday to start meeting with non-county entities to go over their budgets because they are not dependent on our budget situation as a county. So we're gonna start doing that hopefully on the 3rd. I know our HR director, have you heard back from True North?
No, I did email her, but I have not heard back yet.
Okay, so I've already emailed the others, except for the library. Libraries, I'm gonna talk to them today. So hopefully we'll have some times for February 3rd to start meeting. So that is my update. Does anybody have any questions?
We also have a special election coming up pretty quickly, right?
That's true. Yep.
So that's another urgent need.
And we are losing our elections deputy.
Yep. So lots of changes, and from everything I've learned, I'm very concerned about the situation in the auditor's office and left to her to try to sort through. Previous actions or lack thereof not only undermine the auditor's office, but our county department heads who are struggling to, and again, to your point, not even able to start the budget process yet. Very concerning to me. We are way behind the 8 ball when that is normally done, and we have deadlines looming. So it not only disrupts our auditor's office, but it disrupts all other departments in our county government. But I think most of all, it's not what our citizens expect or deserve in county government. So I'm of the mind that we have urgent needs that have to start in the auditor's office, and I'm gonna defer to Terry to know what she needs and identify what resources she needs to sort out this mess. So please let me know how I can support you with that.
Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, we'll move on to new business. Okay, new business. This was on the agenda last time. We ran over, so we moved it to the agenda this time. I requested to put this on here. I would like to do an RFP to do a website retool to see what kind of options we have out there to provide a much better website, more user-friendly, more data, more information. So the public has it at their fingertips. So I wrote the RFP, and it's a year old, because we talked about this a year ago. But so I'll probably tweak it a little bit with Jen, but that is something I would like to get as a resolution to move forward with on our next agenda. I know our current policy, we have to discuss it first before we can move forward with a resolution. So I'll entertain any kind of thoughts, or is this something you guys are willing to do? Get an RFP, at least find out what's out there, see if we can get a much more user-friendly website.
Yeah, I'd like to get more information and see what the options are.
Okay.
See if we can deliver more from our website. That makes sense to me.
Okay. All right, so Michelle, I'll get that information to you for our next meeting.
A resolution.
We'll work on a resolution. I'll get you the tweaked, I'm gonna tweak the RFP with Jenna, and run it by her real quick to make sure she's good with it.
You're gonna put it out for bid?
Yes, yeah, we're gonna put it out for bid.
But we don't need a resolution to put it out for bid, do we?
Yes, we do, put it out for bid.
Mm.
I would prefer doing a resolution, a voted resolution on that, because we did that with the comprehensive plan, we voted on a resolution to put it out for bid. So we're gonna continue with that procedure. Okay, the next one is county REAP survey. Does anyone have thoughts on that? I know Anna sent it out.
Not having gone to my first REAP meeting, or, I didn't feel knowledgeable enough really to complete the survey. Because it's all new to me. I can certainly complete the survey based on the knowledge I do have as a citizen. I'm happy to do that. Is that something that we all three are going to be completing, or?
I believe I completed it, but to your point, there's a lot of stuff I don't know on it, but I think it's a requirement to fill those out in order to get REAP funds.
So basically what if you guys need additional information, feel free to call my office.
Okay.
I mean, we can provide you, there's a whole REAP page. And if you guys are not familiar with the REAP program, it stands for Resource Enhancement and Protection. One of the most popular programs the state of Iowa's ever passed, the legislation. And Madison County's been a benefit of over $2.3 million for the REAP expenses. So basically right now what we're at the time is we're at the time to rewrite our Madison County's REAP 5-year plan and also restructure the REAP scoring committee. So, and that's what Amy Warnke is, our environmental education coordinator. She's also on the REAP assembly. So she's the one that I had tasked to start formulating and rewriting that 5-year plan. So she's reached out to previous REAP committee members and also including the Board of Supervisors to fill out and complete that survey. So that's we're at the start of the process of rewriting that 5-year plan and restructuring that the REAP scoring committee, so.
Okay.
But if you guys need additional information, feel free to reach out to my staff or myself, and we can fill you in on the whole REAP program, the background, the purpose of the program, the benefits of the program, how it benefits Madison County, so.
No, I did REAP for 22 years for the state. REAP, with REAP comes conservation easements though. And government cannot get REAP, correct? Or has it changed?
No, it's, government, county conservation board, government
You
department, we
can't.
can, right, yep.
But,
So-
certain entities of government cannot apply for REAP, is that correct?
Certain ones, but
Yeah.
there's a whole breakdown of it.
And how long are your maintenance agreements with REAP? 20 years?
It depends on the project,
program.
but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information that's out there. So if you want additional information, just call down to the office and we can fill you in on all that, so. But that's what the initial email was from, is trying to coordinate with additional REAP committee members, and then, which is the result of that poll that Amy sent out. And then, once we get that done, we'll start rewriting a 5-year plan.
Thank you for giving that.
One clarification, if I may, when Supervisor Stancil did the resolutions, did you speak A through J to combine them? Or did you speak B through J because,
You went B through J, because A is the,
I know, but we thought we heard A through J. It's A through
Of the
J.
EMS,
because
of
A
the
and
EMS.
Department had resolution.
EMSA,
EMSA through J.
yeah, it's,
EMS,
A through
A
J. EMSA
through J.
no, the
Not
EMS is
up here,
B.
the EMS A
No,
through
well,
J.
we're speaking about two different things. One is the letter enumeration of the actual resolution, and the other is an outline marker on the agenda.
Okay, that's where the confusion is. I was using the letter after the resolution number,
You should.
EMSA,
You should.
and going through EMSJ, and you guys were looking at the bullet points.
Oh, all right.
So that's where, I apologize.
No, I just wanna make sure it was.
I'll be clear in the future, but thank you for
No,
doing that.
that's fine.
And there's no
Sure,
I
it's
because
on the
it
record.
doesn't allow.
I did wonder that.
No,
Is there something
there's
missing,
no
or?
I. It's on purpose. Because of, exactly for that reason.
Ah, okay, got it.
That's is very brilliant.
Okay.
Carried on.
Okay. All right, now we're into ordinance review and updates. So we approved the vendor to do our ordinance review, and we have a signed contract. Okay, so you're gonna send that to Marvin, so we can get going, and Ryan, he's just waiting on the contract to get to him, and then you guys can get going on the ordinances. Okay? Does anybody have any questions or thoughts or anything like that? Okay. The other priorities, I put that on here, are remaining ARPA fund projects. The reason why I put it on there, I wanted to make sure they didn't get dropped or forgotten or anything like that, because we have to get them done by the end of the year. So, this way we can remember to follow up every meeting as to the status of that. So, do you guys have any thoughts on that? Did you want me to list each ARPA? Would you like us to list each ARPA, like the individual ARPA projects, the 3 ones we approved? On there going forward. Could you do that going forward, Michelle, please?
That's a good idea.
Yep. So that way we can just stay on target, make sure we're done. And I do have a question for you though. Do you have access to the system for the ARPA submissions? I know you and Shelley both had to have access to that stuff. Do you still have access to it?
I don't know. When we first applied for ARPA, we used me because we figured it was terrible. We had to use my eye print, my thumb print. They knew my firstborn. It was really frightening.
Yeah.
And we decided, since I was the oldest, I would be the guinea pig, and I don't know. I think I do have access still, because they would send it to me and I would send it over to Shelley and we would do the reporting. Because you do not want to go through that.
So I'm nervous because the FEMA one, can you double check to make sure you still have access?
We can, yeah, we'll
Because
have
if
to
you
look.
don't, I'll add that request to Congressman Dunn's office. that
We'll
we
see
need
if
that
I
fixed.
still have access.
Okay, you can do that, and then, if you do, then you can work with Terry to change
Well,
it.
that would really be, I'll come over and we'll see, or you just look and see if I still have access.
Yeah, I'm seeing if you still have access.
So you can see if I, yeah, because
So we don't wanna be surprised with that, though that's a lot of money to, yeah. So if we can, you guys can work together and double check that, that would be great.
And that FEMA money is, we reached out to Zach Nunn's office, have they given you any indication if they're going to be able to assist, or just, we'll
Well,
see?
Terry,
what FEMA money would that have been?
that was for the EMS, it's the firefighter grant, it was for the power pot,
It's like 59,000?
59,000.
Just shy of 60.
Yeah,
Well, he
just-
would know.
He's the one
That's
that
great.
engaged with us, yeah, he told her that.
Yeah, this started on January 7th.
Yep.
That has consumed significant parts of my day every day.
Trying to make sure we don't have to pay it back, because we've been through that once before, Diane. We don't want to. So Brady emailed you, and then we got.
He emailed me, he wanted to make sure the report was filed. So the only thing I have been able to confirm is that the report was not filed.
So, and then the feds sent us in a circular loop.
Oh, and still,
That's
before I even came here, I was back on the phone in a circular loop with an automated thing that literally just had me on a hamster wheel.
Oh, FEMA's terrible
Yep.
to deal with.
Yeah, so even as of this morning before this meeting, I am still dealing with it on the 28th. From the 7th to the 28th.
So this is why I engaged Congressman, because if we don't get that report filed on the 30th, we're at risk of having to pay it back.
We'll have to pay it back.
And do some department heads file their own grant requests and some, so Mike, you do your own, so you haven't had these challenges?
Well,
You have
I was
terrible
speaking
challenges.
hopefully.
No, it's a process.
It's a,
The only thing I might say is sometimes, there's two levels, and maybe you talk to them, at least for road type of stuff. There's Department of Homeland Security, Iowa, which is, they have FEMA people. Sometimes there's some representatives there that can help you on the local level, talk to the federal level. And I understand exactly what you're going through.
Other department heads, I mean, including conservation, they've dealt with FEMA before, so it just depends on the department.
Yeah.
It's extensive.
That's a good idea, though,
It-
if she can get, if she can talk to
It's,
our local Homeland Security.
it's a process.
Yeah.
And they
I
don't
have
just
their
turn the
numbers.
switch
They
on
were
the
real
security
helpful.
part either. It's,
Because she got a name of somebody, and then I tried to get a name of somebody, and then finally, we were just in a loop. So then that's when I engaged Congressman Dunn's office and said, can you please get me a live body that knows what they're doing, so we can file this stupid report?
in the original filing, it was set up, the account was set, was it FEMA Go, or what, was set up under Shelley's email, county email address? And there's no way to resend it just using her address?
I tried, it doesn't exist in their system anymore.
Just her name. So her name is tied to county credentials, and we have to go through their process to change it. They can't just go in like a normal person and
And
change
reset
it.
it.
but
Literally,
that's really common with a lot of the federal government.
Brings up
They're-
something else.
Even though you have an email and password, there's also security codes that are on top of that that they can send that person or a person.
And then
they're
timelines.
only good for so long.
Yeah.
It can be a process.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Well, this is now
That's
reminding me that we have a resolution of, purchase resolution naming Shelley as the only person who could take out credit for the county.
we'll need to change that.
Good recall.
So
Thanks,
we
Michelle.
need to change that. So,
Or maybe not, I don't know, but I certainly still need to look at it.
Yeah, if you don't mind diving into that, that'd be great.
so I'm sure we're gonna uncover all kinds of things that will need to be updated and changed over the next few months as we work through them. So, I'll follow up with Nunn's chief of staff today to see if they've been able to get us a name. So we have 2 days to try to get that report filed.
Well, and I guess they told Brady yesterday that even if you do get a live person, it will take 48 hours to reset it to be even able to file the report. So that's
So
why.
even if they reset it today.
So that's why I was back on the hamster wheel this morning, and then I also followed up with Brady and told him that I got nowhere. Cause he would, you know, he was like, call this number and tell them. Well, you call that number, there's no one to tell anything to. There's no person. No matter what button you hit, no matter where they send you, there's no person to talk to say, hey, I need access to this.
So do we need a phone blitz to Nunn's office, like
What if you go-
every hour, and we're gonna keep calling you until you get us some help?
Can you go through Homeland Security? I can give you their number.
There's nothing on any of the instructions that tells me
Wait, you know,
Do
is
that.
that a lot, Mike? What we don't
So get this, so she did, you got an escalation person, right? And, he advised her to call FEMA Go and Google the number.
Yeah, he was like, I will give you a number here in a minute. And he's coughing and hacking in my ear, and then he was like, oh, just Google it. And use the number that comes up. Well, you Google it, and the number that comes up is the number I originally called to get his number.
Yeah. Welcome to government. Sorry. So, you know, Diane, if you haven't, we'll take whatever numbers you got. So if you got numbers.
I'll come in and help you. We'll try Homeland Security.
Well, I have another meeting after this, so you probably just wanna email it to me, because I don't know when I'll be back over there.
All right, because when we had the tornado, we worked through with FEMA and Homeland Security and kind of decided we didn't want FEMA. Because it was just, it's so complicated
Yep.
and convoluted, and they tell you what you have to do, when you have, it just doesn't work well. So,
So Mitch may also have some insight too, he may have
Mitch
some
might.
context.
I can give you all my numbers.
Yeah, and, they might have some backdoor numbers, we can get around the federal loop tree.
I don't know.
So, we're gonna keep trying.
What are you gonna say,
Find
Mike?
it by
I
now.
was gonna say, you know, there's also, at least for the stuff that I've dealt with roads, sometimes there's an extension that you can get to. So if you can't get, let's say if this is a time-sensitive thing where you need the board also to sign on something that's done. If you do get into the system, a lot of times there's an extension button, and the reason why, and write a little thing, and that'll buy you 30 days. Or 90 days.
Would you have better luck getting through, maybe?
No, it's a security.
No.
I do have a couple phone numbers, on the state level, but unfortunately that changes over quite a bit. You may or may not get somebody to pick up.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get you more numbers,
Good.
and after we're done here, I'll call the Congressman's office and see if they can help us on that. And thank you for the information, that even if we fixed it today, there's a good chance we won't even be able to do it in 2 days.
So to Mike's point, what's the process for an extension to
Well,
where
so
we should
if
pursue
you
that
do get into the
regardless?
system, if it's the same screen, there'll be a process that says this is due or whatever. There's a process inside that you can ask for an extension.
She can't even get into it.
But once you get into it,
Yeah.
and
Well,
then,
once I get into it, it should be pretty simple to file the report,
File
so.
it.
I hope so.
Yes. Well, I know.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's not looking good.
It all depends, like, and I don't know what level report, again, I'm speaking from the road department, sometimes those reports that I file, the signatures or dates or whatever, actions by the board. So sometimes if you need that, you can file an extension, and they're pretty good in at least reading the things that I put in there, like, you know, I mean, some things you can't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the best we can.
Yep.
I've got a couple numbers, I'll send them to you.
Okay. So, all right, thank you.
And I
Sorry.
did find that, I found that.
Okay. All right, if there isn't anything else to discuss, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. All right, motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion about that? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?